Hey, welcome back to the workshop. My name is Josh, this is my workshop, and today I'm going to have a quick run around the Trend T4E router. Alright? Right then, so the little Trend T4 router, I'm going to try and be as honest with you as I can. I've been using it for about maybe 3-4 weeks now. Maybe, yeah, something like that, 3 or 4 weeks. I've been using it a whole bunch to hog out mortises and do some general routering work, something that you'd use like a little 1/4 inch router for. Now we picked this up because I wanted something that was lightweight and easy to manoeuvre around for hogging out mortises, was really what I wanted, because I had a whole bunch of gates to build. And yeah, the only other little router that I've got is the little DeWalt one. And as much as I love this, for me to go buy a plunge base for this, I was looking at 120 quid. This came in at £85 from my local tool merchants, and I think you can get it for maybe 79 at Tool Station at the moment. The price was right, really. Obviously, I understand spending 80 quid, that you get what you pay for, yeah? That's a given. Oh, but it's Trend, you know, and Trend is supposed to be like the big dogs when it comes to routing and all of the sort of jigs and bits and pieces that we get in the UK that come over from the US. So thought I'd give it a go. I'll tell you what, before I start telling you all about it, let's have a run through and see what we get in the box then, shall we? Here we go, here's the box. So you get your usual blow moulded case, quite a nice one to be fair for a cheapo router. Pop it open, you get your usual side fence in there, you get an Allen key and you get a wrench. That's off of my bit. A couple of other bits and pieces that you get with it. So it came with 3 collets, a 6mm, 1/4 inch and an 8mm. 8mm in the machine. It did come up with a bushing. Interestingly, there's no pin. This is what I mean when I say a pin. And what this does is this goes into the collet and then it allows you, obviously the 30mm bushing, it allows you to center the bushing to the collet to make sure that everything that you're doing is perfect, right? Now, because it doesn't come with a pin, this is the, I guess, the original bushing that they sent out with it. And as you can see, there's only 2 holes in there. There's no movement, so the screws go straight in. And what I'll do is I'll put a picture up now of how off center that is. So, I assume what's happened is that because it's been so off-center, you can't use it with some of the Trend stuff, which means they've sent out this one with the Trend router. Now this is 16mm bushing, just like this one. It's got GBT4 160. However, I don't know if you can see, it's got no like surround for the screw to go in, so you can move it backwards and forwards. You can line it up by eye, however, there's still no pin for it. Now I believe you can maybe buy an aftermarket one, and Trend's sell an aftermarket one, I think, but I don't really feel, I know it's 80 quid, but I don't really feel like you should have to spend extra money on something that they know is a problem because they've given you an extra bushing for it, right? Yeah, I think that's odd. I'm quite disappointed with that, but get what you pay for, yeah? So we'll try and be mindful of the price. And obviously it comes with a base plate. However, again, I was really disappointed with the quality of this base plate and the screws that hold the base plate in, which I'll show you in a second. This, as you can see, it's not smooth, it's not nice, and you can hear it grating. Now, as a comparison, this is the one from the T11, so I think this is like Teflon coated. And look, right, I do understand the price point. Somebody put in one of my videos the other day that I was expecting, I don't know, they mentioned a car, I don't know what it is, but they were like, you're expecting a Rolls Royce for like Mini Cooper price. I'm not. I just expect certain things to work, and it does kind of grate on me when companies have had the opportunity to maybe, when they've had the opportunity to maybe create a really good product for an extra £5, but have chose not to do that. And I don't really understand why the B counters get involved in that sort of thing. To make one of these with this material, I can't imagine in the quantity that they're making them, it probably costs more than about 30 to 50p. And so if it's 30 to 50p, why wouldn't you do that? Same thing for these screws. I'll show you a picture of these screws, but they're so cheap, the Phillips head isn't even centered on the actual screw. So like the screw goes up here like this, and the Phillips head would normally be centered in there, it's not. Which I think is just like really poor. So, oh, and they had glued, I'll show you again in the picture, they had glued this base plate to the bottom of the router. So here and here, so can you see there, glue and glue. And because it had been glued, that then meant that I couldn't get the screws out properly. One of them I rounded off, which hadn't been glued, And the other two that had been glued, they ended up getting rounded off when I tried to undo them with my screwdriver, which I was really disappointed about. You know, it's really poor. And I have had issue with Trend in the past. Our T11, which was like nearly 400 quid, when you took the base plate off of it, where these sections are, like the plunge rails, I guess, it was full of shavings. So they'd milled the bottom, like the bit where this attaches to, they'd milled the bottom off to make it flat, but not cleared out all the shavings. So there were shavings in here, so I had to go in there and scrape all that out and then re-grease it, which again was really poor quality. And that was like a £400 router, so certainly won't be getting sponsored by Trend anytime soon, I would say that. That being said, I do like it, but you just have to keep reminding yourself you get what you pay for, I think. So the bushing and the pin, that was a bit of an irritation. I can line it up by eye, but I do wonder whether maybe somebody who, without sounding like an idiot, who hasn't got my eye, would be able to line that up, or whether they just assume that Trend had done it properly, do something and waste a load of material, which again would be extremely irritating. And they give you a nice little paper bag. Like I've seen packets of seeds with better bags on to put all your bits and pieces in, which again, you know, it's just those finishing touches. I think that they could, with such a name there, they could maybe just put a little bit extra in and really corner the market, but that's just me, I guess. Like I said, right, I'm going to get onto the machine a bit. Like I said, the fact they've sent this out so they know there's a problem, and well, I guess this is their fix, but something like that should have been picked up in the initial testing phase. Maybe that's why they don't send a pin out with it, because they know that it's not going to line up if you use those holes without having that bushing in place. Okay, so that being said, what's it like to use? It's really quite nice. Does it say how heavy it is? Right, okay, so I've just weighed it with the base plate on. It weighs about 3.8 kilos. I think all in all, it weighs around about half of the T11. For obviously hogging out mortises and doing fine work, I don't want to be hoiking something around that's like 6-7 kilos, because that's just going to suck. So, and this is a light duty router, right? So it does say that it's a light duty router for hobby use and light trade use in a workshop or on site. So continuing on the theme of things that I don't like, then we will get to the stuff I do like, I promise you, we will get to the stuff I do like. Continuing on the theme of things that I don't like, can you see this? Can you hear that? So that doesn't plunge straight. That's irritating. So if we push it down a little bit, there's still wiggle room. Now that, see, like if I do this handle, it doesn't wobble. But if I do this handle, so that's wiggle room of about 1 to maybe 2 mil on the bit up here. I guess again, it's not too much of an issue. It's a light duty trade and it was only 80 quid. But I'm just going to pop this off and see if I can see a bearing. There we go, look. Quality again. I've tried to take this top out. As you can see, it does look like it comes out, but clearly it doesn't. Maybe they glued that in there as well. I don't know. That's disappointing. Okay, so maybe I won't take that out and check to see what we've got going on in there. What I might do is might take the base plate off before the video's finished. Pop it out and see if we can see what's going on. But yeah, that's a bit poor, right? It's a plunge router. I've had cheap plunge routers before and they don't want to plunge because they've not been greased correctly. So we stick a load of grease on there or some like dry silicone spray and they work great again. And they haven't wobbled. And I think the crummy little Titan, like an Erbauer cheapo special from Screwfix, again, it was absolutely, well, it plunged bad, but once you greased it up, it certainly didn't wobble like that. Let me get... Okay, so bad points aside then, what do I like about it? I like the weight, I like how easy it is to manoeuvre it around. It's basically like having a small version of this. This is 900 watts, this is 850 watts, so pretty much of a muchness. Yeah, it's like having one of these but not spending 280 quid for it, which is not like something to be sniffed at really, I guess. Other than the shake in the plunge, it is quite nice. It does only have a 35mm plunge, which again can be a little bit irritating. But it works fine enough for some of the mortises that we do on our side gates and bits and pieces. So 35mm, plus we have the bit that pokes out just a little bit more than it should do. And so that means we can get just under 40mm or 40mm depth of cut into the sides. So that gives us an 80mm loose tenon in there, which is just perfect for the side gates. I think if you were using it to hog out hinges, again, it would be fine. Hogging out small mortises. I've used it quite a lot in cutting the half lap joints on my gates, again, works perfectly for that. It is a light duty trade router. There's a couple of things that they could have maybe done a little bit better with it that would have made it a little bit nicer. But what are you going to do, eh? Big companies always do this. It's always looking at the bottom line, counting those beans, right? It's always the bean counters that ruin the product, not the designers. I'll take the bottom off of this and we'll see if we can find out if there's a bearing in there or not. Okay, while I'm taking that off, one thing I will say, the dust collection on this is really very good. I have it hooked up to my Festool MIDI, and that hasn't got a huge amount of pull on it. It's not like some of the shop vacs you can get, like the Nilfisks and the bits and pieces. But the vast majority of the time, as long as you're not like going mad and you've got enough distance between the bushing and the bit, which I believe is about 3mm on either side. So if you're doing a 16mm bushing, you wouldn't want to run anything more than a 13mm bit, or like a 1/2 inch bit, I guess. But it is only a 1/4 inch router, so just, you know, you're not going to go smashing out 3/4 inch bits in it and stuff like that. Yeah, the dust extraction does work really, really well. Okay, so I've got like a 6-inch socket head bolt here. Let's see if we can pop that in the end and give it a tap and see if it comes out. There we go, so it does come out. It's just really poorly made. So yeah, so it does come out, and obviously it does have this section to go on the end, so it should be able to pull out, but it just doesn't. I guess that's maybe bad QA on the factory's part, maybe. But you can see it's massively mangled up, which is a bit poor. This one's all shot to bits as well. Not the best. Okay, so we'll take the dust extraction off, see if I can get in there, because there's something I want to see. I'm going to take this bit out as well. Obviously 2 screws, and this comes out. But you do have to take the bit out before you can get the dust extraction out, which is a proper pain when you want to change bits and you have to take everything apart. Especially if we've got that in there, means we have to take that off. Then we have to take the bit out if I want to remove the dust extraction. And there's not a huge amount of space in there. Like, that's a finger width to just get the spanner in there. Okay, so looking at it, this is the reason that we have that shake in there. It's because this side there's a circlip on it, so there's no bearings in there, my bad. They've just got the casting running on a metal tube. They've got a circlip in here, can you see that? Push that down, you might be able to see that a bit better. So there's a circlip there, and there's not one on that side, which is why it will wobble. Can't do it. Let me see if I can do this. Which is why it will wobble side to side. It's because the spring is pushing the pressure up on this side, up against this circlip, and there's nothing pushing it up on here. So obviously it's going to like overcompensate and go like this and have a bit of wiggle room in it. Okay, so the other thing we can do is, we can, I guess, if we want to. So that screw's just rounded off. Like, you know the super duper cheap screws that you get with hinges, and you get them and you chuck them away? That's what this is made with, apparently. Now, I'm sure some of you are going to sit there and go, Josh, you're being too harsh on it. But, like, should we not be able to take our tools apart and them not fall apart? Like, should we not be able to service our own gear, right? I think we should be able to. Here you go, let me show you something. Let me show you something which I think just speaks volumes about everything, right? Look, here is the, I was just looking to see how to get the router base out, because you can take it out and show you. It's sort of like a die grinder. However, look, it says here, use 14mm open-ended spanner to release the clamping nut onto the base. And I'm like, okay, oh, it says number 2. No worries, 1 and 2. Yeah, oh, wait a second. Number 2 goes to, oh. Goes to where? So they've saved money by printing this smaller and not sorted it out. That's awesome work there. Something else to bear in mind is that there's only a limited depth inside here. So like some router bits will have a line on them that say, hey look, you need to push the router bit in this far. You can't necessarily push them in all the way on that, which is like a little bit irritating. Oh, look, and the spanner they sent has just opened up. Look, can you see that? So now it doesn't work. So I've got a proper 14mm spanner. Whoop. There we go. So how that works is, the unit sits in here. This section here goes into here, and then this clamps as you tighten this up. It clamps the entire cast section. I can't imagine that's going to be very good for the tool. I don't think it will last that long. Oh look, and there's the locker. Oh, interesting. These were the screws I was trying to get out, and can you see that one in the top left there has already rounded off. Awesome. But again, using crummy screws, I guess. Bean counters. Well, I will say this, I know I complain about stuff. It is built to a price, and it is only 80 quid, 80, 90 quid, depending on where you shop. As with everything, especially like that, I've got like the Urbauer planar thickness video that I did that had like, I don't know, it's got like 50,000 views or something. There's a lot of people that agree with me because I slate it, and there's a lot of people who say, well, you know, you want roller vehicle for like Cooper price, and I don't. I just expect things to work when I pay for them, right? Especially like that planar thickness, which was like 150 quid or something. And the thing that grates on me the most is when it's simple fixes, simple little things that could be dealt with, and they're not. Because I guess they're just turfing out hundreds of thousands of units, and they don't really care because like the percentage of the stuff that gets returned is so low, or people only use it like little and often, so they don't really pick up on all the problems that there are with it. Things like this, you know, it's great for what it does. It's great for hogging out mortises. It's great for the little bits and pieces that we need it. So I was going to try and take this base plate off and have a look at the tubes. I can't. I'm guessing they may be glued in because I've taken the grub screws out and it's not coming away, and I'm not going to smash it and break it because I've no doubt it will just fall to bits, and I want to use it because I've got another job coming up. So you haven't got any bushings in there. It's just maybe like an alley tube running, that's painted, running onto this cast alley block. Okay, so would I buy one again? Maybe, right? And it's a very big maybe. If I'm only going to use it for one specific task, like hogging out mortises, and I don't really need to use it for anything else, then I probably would because of the price. In reality, what I'd really like is the Milwaukee's got a little plunge, like a palm rat with a plunge base on it. Makita do one, DeWalt do one, we've got the DeWalt one here. Yeah, so yeah, in reality, I'd like one of those, but then you're talking like, if you're going from new, you're talking like 250, 300, 320, something like that. So it's a lot of money, right? And everything's battery powered, then you need the chargers, you need the batteries, and yeah, it's just a bit of a palaver. For the money, I think this is a nice little unit. However, just be aware of what you're buying when you go into it. You might need to do a little bit of fettling like you do with all the other bits and pieces. You know, you might need to smooth this off because it's not very smooth. Probably not very serviceable because you can't take bits and pieces out because they've glued them in. They glued the screws in. I think there's just lots of ways they maybe could have made it a lot nicer, but like I said before, bean counters and all that. So yeah, so please let me know below what you think. If you think I've been too harsh on it, I'm sure people will think I've been too harsh on it. I don't mean to be harsh, I just, you know, when I spend money on stuff, I want the details to be paid attention to, because that's really what makes and breaks it all for me. But yeah, let me know what you think below. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If there's anything else you'd like to review, especially if it's any of the tools that I have that you see me using, I'd be more than happy to tear them apart, well, take them apart, and then hopefully get them back together. I hope you all have an awesome day. Thank you very much. You take it easy, and I shall catch you on the next one. And if you've enjoyed the video, would you please think about maybe hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel, because the more subscriptions we have, more likes we have, the more comments we have, more engagement there is, the more YouTube likes us, and the more our videos will get shared out, and it just snowballs from there. Okay? Thank you very much. Take it easy and have a great day.